back to Packet Loss. In this episode, I'm going to be covering the ins and outs of the Palo Alto Dashboard. This will be relatively quick, so with that, let's get started. Upon logging into any Palo Alto firewall, you're going to be at the dashboard page, which is essentially your home page for the firewall GUI. You'll notice upon login on the bottom left-hand side, what this is going to show is your admin username. Alongside that, you'll see the option to log out. Alongside that, you'll also see your active session time expiration, as well as the last successful login time to this firewall. Keep in mind, once logged in, all features you change or modify on the dashboard are unique to your user profile and will not affect other admins or users. So for instance, if I'm going to be changing any of these widgets on my homepage, adding, removing, disabling, what have you, this is unique to my user profile, does not affect anyone else. This is unique not only on local firewalls, but also on Panorama. On the bottom right-hand corner, if you hover over the little mail icon, what this is going to show you is all of the messages of the day or any kind of banner messages that you have predefined. In our case, I don't have any. However, it's also going to show us any new releases by Palo for updates that are upcoming or existing, as well as any kind of content updates are also going to be available within this window. Next to it is your tasks icon. If you click on this, it brings up your task manager, which will show any ongoing jobs that are currently running from a commit possibly, or previous commits, as well as reports, EDL fetches, downloads, and so on. Next to that, if you click on the language button, what this is going to show you is the different languages you can change the Palo Alto to actually be pre-configured with for all of your displayed settings. If you cancel out of here, on the top left-hand corner, really useful tip is if you hover over your PA model, what this is going to show is all of the information you would normally see in the general information tab that's relevant, usually when you're troubleshooting, whether it be a serial number, a management IP address, and so on. If you just hover over this model number on the top left-hand side, it will actually show you that information. And good tad bit to know is even if you're in the device tab, for instance, this information is still applicable to you. You can choose your layout preferences for the actual firewall dashboard GUI. What I mean by this is you can actually choose the columns here to be 2 columns, or if you so choose, to be 3 columns. Personally, I prefer the 3 columns just because it gives me like a fuller lens, if you will, of what I can have on my dashboard, as well as the widgets. So if I hit the drop down on the widgets, for instance, and I click on top high risk applications, and as you'll notice, there's some that are grayed out. The reason for that is because it's actually displaying those already. So if I click on top high risk applications, for instance, and I bring this to the center, what this is going to show me is the highest risk applications on my firewall as it stands currently with the traffic that's seen. And if I were to click on these, it takes me to the ACC tab to give me a fuller picture of what's going on with those. But if I go back here, just to give you just a better example of what's happening with your widgets, like I said earlier, anytime you modify, you remove, let's say I start removing all of these, this is not going to affect other users. Like I said before, this is only going to affect your user profile, and whether you log out or log back in, those preferences will be saved. And the very last thing to note is you can change how often you want these widgets to actually be updating. So if I were to add back my applications widget for top applications, and I bring this all the way over to the right side, on this little drop down where it says 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, those are the intervals at which you can set to actually pull for this information. And if I were to hit manual, what this is going to mean is I will have to manually refresh all of these widgets either one by one or entirely by hitting the refresh icon up here. And this will give me either a manual refresh, like I said, or I can just have it on an interval where it refreshes every 5, 2 minutes, or 1 minute. In conclusion, I hope this video helped you learn how to manage your dashboard in an effective manner on your Palo Alto firewalls. I've also included some helpful KBS articles below. Thank you again for watching, and if you have any suggestions, please leave a comment below.